Good evening. Try again. Good evening. Thank you. Hi. Good evening. It is 6:02, and I call this regularly scheduled Dunwoody City Council meeting to order. Unless there's an objection, seeing none. Councilman Seconder, can you lead us in the pledge and the invocation in the pledge?
For those who are able, please rise. Invocation. At this meeting, help us to make decisions which keep us faithful to our mission and reflect our values. Give us strength to hold to our purpose, wisdom to guide us, and a keen perception to lead us. And above all, keep us charitable as we deliberate. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Okay. Sorry. All right, it's public comments. I have cards. If you have a public comment and you didn't fill out a card, you can fill one out at the back and bring it up here or hand it to Eric Sheely right here. And we'll get them when we conclude, whoever has already filled out a card. Ali, I saw you. I know you're here. You'll have 3 minutes, sir. Approach the microphone.
Thank you, City Council. I just wanted to make three very general comments as someone who walks around the city a lot, just something to bring to your attention. The first one is, again, I walk a lot around the perimeter mall area, and I've noticed in the last couple of weeks that we have a large influx of homeless people just kind of living on the benches. I imagine that is probably correlated to the World Cup coming in June, July, and more than likely the city of Atlanta is doing what they need to do to clean up their city, which of course forces their residents to come into our, to our city. So I've noticed just a large influx of random people who are now, unfortunately, on our benches, on our sidewalks, in our city. So I just simply wanted to bring that to your attention to see if there's any way we can have any corrective actions here or anything we can do to possibly assist them or help them relocate to other shelters or other places that are not just on the pedestrian street. Number two, as someone who walks around the city a lot, I have noticed as well is that as always, we have issues with traffic. We do a good job of keeping like pedestrian crosswalks. We do a good job of having sidewalks. We have a good job of having signs that tell vehicles when it's time for pedestrians to walk. Unfortunately, it doesn't help a lot with some of the cars. There's two ways of fixing that: enforcement, which would come under the chief, or education. So I would hope that maybe in the Dunwoody Digest, as that's one of our biggest forms of communication with the city, maybe just a small section here or there, just a polite reminder of kind of what to do when you see a pedestrian in the sidewalk. Accelerating is not the right answer. But ultimately, just a quite quick reminder, and some of those traffic things would be helpful. Granted, I think a lot of the problems are more than likely people from other cities, of course, or non-residents of Dunwoody who are just doing whatever they want to do. And then the last thing is, I saw that we're getting a new restaurant in Perimeter Mall, which looks fantastic. I've seen I did a little bit of my homework on it, and I think that will be an amazing addition to Perimeter Mall. It should be fantastic. Yet again, another accomplishment. Most other cities, especially with Roswell, really getting very, very popular. And it's, I think it's like Alive at 5 or something. And other cities doing Alpharetta doing their restaurant weeks. It seems like all the other northern cities have some type of restaurant week or some type of restaurant festival of some sort. So I would advise and ask if we can potentially look at doing something like that or creating something like that, just like a restaurant week, something that gets correlated with the city, something that can kind of promote more people, including residents, to come out and try some of these restaurants. But those are just my three observations I want to bring to your attention. As always, we appreciate the work you do. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you. Danny Ross, you'll have 3 minutes, sir. Approach the microphone. Introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Danny Ross. I live at 5165 North Peachtree Road. When we started the city in 2008, we had no money, we had no laws, we had no police, we had no place to even meet. But we had something that was more important. we had the trust of the public. When Dunwoody became a city, one of the defining promises that we made to the residents was fiscal discipline. The promise was not simply stated, it was written into the charter. And it was, I quote to you from the charter, the city shall levy no more than 3.04 mills for the general operations, close quote. The language was meant to provide certainty. It told the citizens of Dunwoody that the government would operate within clear financial limits, and that any meaningful change to those limits would come back to them for approval. Tonight, that promise is being tested. This proposed tax district may be structured in a way that appears separate from the millage cap. It may be described as a target or necessary, but from the perspective of the taxpayers, the effect is straightforward. It increases the overall tax burden and what was originally promised. The question tonight is not whether you can do this. The question is whether you should do this. And that's the issue before us. When citizens voted for this city, they were not voting for workarounds. They were voting for the government that would live within the defined limits or come back to them openly if those limits needed to change. This is about trust. Even if this proposal is technically permissible, it moves away from the spirit of the charter. And once we begin to move outside the spirit, we begin to erode the confidence that the citizens place in their government. The question tonight is not whether the underlying need is valid. The question is whether this is the right way to address it. If the need is real and compelling, then there is clear and principled path forward. Make the case to the citizens. This approach preserves both fiscal responsibility and public trust. Dunwoody was built on the idea that local government should be responsive, but also restrained. That balance is what has made this city strong. I would respectfully urge you tonight to uphold that principle. Join John Hennigan. I would respectfully urge you tonight to uphold that principle, not just in the letter of the character, but in the intent of the character. Thank you.
Zach Humphreys, approach the microphone, sir, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, Zach Humphreys, 1509 Trotters Cove. In 1970, when Dunwoody first tried to incorporate, the section in which tried to incorporate was around the Hidden Branches area, and it would have charged $10 per household. Unfortunately, well, that didn't work because they couldn't afford a police department. What we see is that times change, communities change, the needs of the community changes, and we need to have the tools available for us to address the needs when things change. With Dunwoody having both the hard homestead evaluation freeze, another 0.1 millage reduction for homesteads, it makes it so that it's very difficult for Dunwoody's tax revenue to increase with the proper rate of inflation and also what the community needs. You know, I know that in 2008, there was a certain expectation, but, you know, it was also in 2008 when, you know, the state government paid for teachers' health insurance and didn't pass that responsibility down onto counties. You know, 2008 was a very different time than what is today. And for Dunwoody to continue to be a multi-generational community, one that takes a step into the next generation, we need to have all the tools available for us to succeed as a community and as a people. Of course, it is pertinent that if this special purpose tax district was used, it is pertinent on council to have a strong justification for its use, to talk to the community and make sure that if it is ever applied, then there is a real justification for it doing so. And so that is pertinent for the council to do. But ultimately, we need to have the resources available for us to continue to succeed as a community and to continue to attract people here, as well as continue to make this a multi-generational community. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Schindel. I might have pronounced your name wrong. I apologize. If you'll just introduce yourself, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Melissa Scheidel. I am a municipal court judge here for the city of Dunwoody. I'm a resident of Dunwoody and have been for quite a long time now. I wanted to speak briefly on the topic of the proposal for 2 term limits for the judges. I've not been privy to the conversations concerning this proposal, so I don't know the reasoning behind it. And without knowing that, what I'm here to say is that our community benefits from experienced judges, not just experienced at being a judge, but experienced with the workings of this courtroom. Everyone who comes to court relies on the inner working of the players who are seated in these chairs. Having a high rate of turnover would not serve the community or the smooth operating of the court. In addition to that, we are, and there are some other judges who are present with me today, we're part of the Council of Municipal Court. And there is a hierarchy within that organization. We're in the 4th district and we have representation on the district level and on the state level. And judges only rise in those rankings when they are experienced and long serving. Having experienced and longer serving judges elevates and amplifies our community's voice on the district and the state level when legislation comes up, for example, requiring that judges cannot sign signature bonds for people who are in jail over the weekend without someone going to the jail to have a hearing. That was a big deal the past couple of years. When legislation like that is proposed, we rely on our officers in the Council of Municipal Court Judges to be our voice for us on the state level. And I have a minute left. Anybody wants it? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your service. That concludes the cards that I have. For public comment, there'll be another public comment session at the end of the meeting. Before I go on, we do have several of our municipal court judges. If you could just be stand and rise. I don't want to call by names because I might miss somebody, but thank you for your service. All right. Okay, so we have we're not reading the proclamation, but Cam Stinson and his, okay. Cam, I think you're here with your peers to make a presentation for Stroke Awareness Day. Come on up. Introduce yourself, have your classmates introduce themselves, and we're ready to learn.
Good evening, City Council members. My name's Cam.
My name's Samiha.
My name is Angelina.
We are Act Fast to Battle Stroke from Dunwoody HOSA. Today we're here to propose a proclamation that declares May 1st Stroke Awareness Day. Our goal is to spread knowledge about recognizing the signs of stroke, ways to reduce strokes, and provide support to stroke survivors. Our message, Act Fast to Battle Stroke, is important because strokes are a medical emergency and many are not aware, but many are affected.
Our campaign emphasized the FAST model, which stands for face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call 911. This helps people quickly recognize stroke symptoms, allowing immediate action that can save many lives by getting patients to seek medical help as soon as possible.
Our team has promoted the FAST model through our previous projects that include 1. Leading educational workshops throughout Dunwoody, such as at Berman Commons, Peachtree Middle School, Dunwoody High School, and our local Boy Scout Troop 477. 2. Organizing fundraisers at Good Vibes and Mellow Mushroom that will be donated to a local stroke survivor group. 3. Donating homemade cards, bracelets, and brochures to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. 4, having an online presence on social media such as Instagram and Spotify, where we spread information and amplify the voices of stroke survivors. 5, sharing infographics locally and internationally by translating them into seven different languages and sharing them to countries that spoke those languages. 6, organizing a stroke awareness week at Dunwoody High School by handing out fast cards, giving stroke facts on the announcements, and having a red day. Through these activities, we have spread our message to the city of Dunwoody and beyond that inspired many to take action against strokes.
Today, we propose establishing a Stroke Awareness Day on May 1st. This initiative would help educate our community, increase awareness of stroke symptoms, and promote prevention efforts that can ultimately save lives. Thank you.
Okay, that was really impressive. Wait, don't leave, Pam, you have to come back, we're not finished.
I would like to make a comment. A year and a half ago, I had a series of strokes, and because I was educated as to what it was, we could immediately call 911 and I could immediately get treated. So thank you for your efforts in this area. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Could you, you said what organization you were from, but it was letters. Can you tell us what the letters stand for? If it's-
Our Act Fast to Battle Stroke, our motto, the FAST, is an acronym.
Mhm.
The face stands for face drooping. So if one side of your face is drooping, that is a sign of a stroke. Arms, if you ask someone to raise both their arms, but one of them is significantly lower, it means that they have weakness on one side of their body, which can be a sign of a stroke. S is for speech, and it's either slurred speech, incoherent speech, or they don't understand what you're saying, and the person you're talking to doesn't understand what you're saying. And then T, a stroke is very time critical. So T is the time to call 911.
Fantastic presentation. And that is your proclamation declaring May 1st Stroke Awareness Day in Dunwoody. So thank y'all for bringing this initiative to us. Great work. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. All right. Ann Hicks, you are next.
That appears on the screen.
Oh,
Nope.
is it on your screen there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here it comes. It's a little slow.
Okay. All right. Well, good evening. I'm Ann Hicks. I'm the current chair of the city's Sustainability Committee. And it's only appropriate that during this Earth Month, we take a moment to recognize some of the heroes in our community who take real action to protect the environment every day. The city's Sustainability Hero Award program honors exemplary individuals and organizations for their dedication, service, and leadership in sustainable practices. I'm honored to announce that the 2025 Individual Hero Award goes to Maida Weiland. Maida was selected for modeling sustainable behavior in his everyday life and for his leadership in advancing sustainability in Dunwoody. As a sustainability professional at Siemens, Maida helps guide long-term sustainability planning. He's also a long-term board member at the Dunwoody Nature Center, where he currently serves as the facilities chair. MIDA demonstrates his sustainable principles by helping ensure that buildings, grounds, and the infrastructure at the Nature Center reflect strong environmental values. So I'd like to invite MIDA to come up for a few comments. Congratulations.
Thank you. Very honored today to be recognized by the city and its sustainability committee for this award. And a big thank you to the Nature Center staff for their nomination. It's a great pleasure to be able to do this, what I do professionally for both the Nature Center and Austin Elementary. And lastly, I'd just like to thank my family and friends who are here running around today. Fun fact, when I originally started on the Dunwoody Nature Center, it was my wife who was at the time at the sustainability committee who was asked to be on the Nature Center, and she didn't, but she nominated a lesser substitute who was me. And I was able to step up and really found something I loved. So thank you to her, and this award is really hers as much as mine. So thank you.
Thank you. Anne, are we doing a present? Are we taking pictures or afterwards?
After the
Okay,
organization.
that's fine. Go ahead.
So moving on to the organization award, I'm pleased to announce that Dunwoody United Methodist Church was selected as the recipient for the 2025 Sustainability Hero Award for making creation care a priority through its Environmental Stewardship Committee. The church has demonstrated a strong commitment to energy efficiency by installing a large solar array in 2025, as well as energy efficient LED lights and thermostats in many rooms. In addition, Dunwoody Methodist began composting food waste and expanding recycling throughout the church last year. So I'd like to invite our senior pastor, Phil Schrader, up here to say a few words and congratulate him.
Thank you so much. The congratulations do not go to me. They go to Kathy Brockman, who is one of our associate pastors who happens to be in Ireland, and our amazing environmental stewardship committee. They teach children on a weekly basis how to compost. Ted Bowden is there week in and week out, helping the children to sort everything at our Wednesday night suppers. And I'm thankful for other church members like Megan who push people into the right spot, right? And these are the people behind me who have pushed us, and they've had patient perseverance. They have been asking us to do this, and few other churches of our size have ever done this in the state of Georgia. And we wanted to be able to lead the way after we had sufficient information to do so. So we hope other houses of worship now will see what we've done. And I love that we're getting this award because you can't see the solar panels. And now people will be able to see that we have solar panels because of this award. And I hope that other houses of worship in our community will follow suit. So thank you. And we thank the team and for all those people who've made this possible at our church. Bless you.
Your picture first. If I want to come back here in the middle and also will come down, I'll be right at you.
Come on, Ted. People are really, the people behind the scenes, right? Here they go.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Claire, and y'all can shoot this way a little bit. Everybody see me? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. Thank you. And committee members can stay.
Thanks, man. Congratulations. Put you to work here too. Anytime.
All of the girls. Matthew, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. You guys, thank you.
Congratulations to both award winners. You certainly make our community a better place. And we are so proud of you both for the work you as an organization and as an individual have done. We're very grateful too. Thank you. Thank you, Anne, and we're ready for your report.
Okay, so I'd like just to deliver a brief Sustainability Committee update, some successes in the last year since we last provided you with an update. Those include, we helped organize 2 Greenspeak informative programs at the Dunwoody Nature Center. In August, we had one on rooftop solar, and in March on the importance of native plants. Last fall, we led a pollinator education booth at the Nature Center's Butterfly Experience. We also manned a table at, I think, 3 or 4 farmers market Saturdays last summer, and where we disseminated information to the public about changes in DeKalb's recycling policies. We had tips about composting and purchasing EVs and lots of other, helpful information. We also wrote a number of articles for the D News. Oops, okay, thank you. Can't multitask here. We supported city staff on its RFP for the 2 city solar projects and also participated on the bid review team for those projects. We helped host 2 electronic waste recycling events, which seem to be very popular in the community. We helped let's see, very recently, we participated with city staff and city council, along with other municipal leaders in DeKalb on the, I thought, very informative program on regenerative lawn care led by the Rootstown organization. So, okay, so upcoming plans real quick. We're having another Greenspeak informative program on May 20th on home energy efficiency. We're having a special meeting with council on June 3rd. We're really looking forward to that. We're doing a number of things to encourage composting. We're doing some research into composting programs in other municipalities for both residential and potentially restaurant composting, just to encourage that behavior. We're continuing education on rooftop solar and EVs through articles and educating the public at the farmers market and so forth. We're looking at relevant city ordinances for possible updates related to sustainability, and continuing with the summer tabling at farmers market and the D News, and at least one more e-waste recycling event. So really looking forward to those and other activities. I encourage any members of the public to please join us. Our committee meets monthly, second Thursdays at City Hall, right upstairs at 8 a.m. And we do have a committee webpage, which you can easily find online. So thank you for your time, Council.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Rob.
I just want to make a quick thank you. I don't know if the citizens of the city appreciate the level of expertise that the members of the Sustainability Committee have. It's a really, really talented group of people with really deep knowledge on these topics, and they donate their time for free and their efforts for free. And on our consent agenda later tonight, we have the first solar panels that are going on 2 city buildings. And the Sustainability Committee was integral in helping to kind of put together the RFP for that and review and select a good bid. And that's a project that will be of no cost to the city, but will reduce our power bills. So it's a 100% win for the city, and donated time from the Sustainability Committee was a big part of that. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really great for the city to be a role model in that area, as well as, what Dunwoody Methodist has done. I wanted to mention real quick that Chamblee Methodist just celebrated a ribbon cutting for their own solar system yesterday. So it was another large system, and some of us talked to them and helped get them across the finish line. But yeah, I was going to mention on your point about the members of the committee. We do have a new sustainability professional on our committee, as well as a landscape architect that joined a few months ago. So, and then 2 high school students who are totally awesome. You guys approved last time. So yeah, we're just thrilled with the extra help and the expertise, like Rob said. So thank you.
Stacy?
I would actually like to add to one of your successes in your activities from this last year is helping me in the city of Tucker with you and Beth Sexton came down and talked to Senior Lunch and Learn about all things recycling and sustainable. And Beth has helped me recycle about 8,000 ball pit balls through Charm. So not only do you help us here in the city, but you're also welcome and willing to travel. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Joe?
Yeah, we've got at least 3 of us were on the sustainability committee here. That sits in the council. So, we appreciate it. And what folks don't realize in the community is that, we have other boards and commissions as well, planning commission, zoning board of appeals, all these other, a lot of them, they react, they receive an agenda, they get to digest it, and then they can deliberate and make recommendations. You guys actually do work. You guys put in hours and time and are out in the community rolling up your sleeves, and it really is a huge benefit, right? We could be paying thousands and thousands or tens of thousands of dollars a year for those services, for the expertise. So thank you for being out there and doing what you do again. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Just everyone said it, y'all are a working committee, and we appreciate all the time and that you bring your talents to share with us. Thank you. Appreciate it. Right, next is Ms. Davis here. Jessica, come on. All right, come on up. And so for those of you who may not know, a couple of months ago, I started an initiative to introduce one dog from Lifeline DeKalb to the community in hopes of finding it a permanent home. And I believe we've had some success, right? And you can tell us about that.
Yeah.
And so if you'll introduce the dog and
For sure.
I'll come down.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, my name is Jessica. I know I say this every time, but I live in Dunwoody. My husband is a police officer here. We love Dunwoody. I started volunteering with Lifeline about 2.5 years ago, and then started working for Lifeline this past December. So today we have with us Strawberry Picnic. Cutest name for the cutest dog. She is around between 3 and 4 years old. And at the shelter, we actually have a leveling system for how easy the dog is to handle, right? How much training you need as a volunteer. When Strawberry Picnic came in, she was the highest level, which means the most difficult, because she was so scared. She refused to move. And so she had to be carried around the shelter for about 3 weeks. And our behavior team worked with her and got her to where she's comfortable at the shelter now. So she's always been a sweetheart, but now we don't have to carry her 67 pounds all around the shelter. She is very dog friendly. She's a staff favorite. And she is heartworm positive. So I wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Heartworm positive dogs are a little misunderstood. A lot of our dogs at the shelter are heartworm positive. So I have 5 favorites right now. All of them are heartworm positive. But dogs cannot begin treatment for heartworms until they're in a home because they have to be kept calm, and that's just impossible in the shelter environment. So heartworms are not contagious to your other pets. They're not contagious to people. It's about a 3-month process, and it's honestly pretty easy. My husband and I adopted a heartworm positive dog. So if you have like this summer and you're looking to foster, being a heartworm foster is really helpful because it gets these dogs' hearts healthy. And then even if you have to return them at the end of the summer, it's so much easier on their bodies to be in the shelter heartworm negative. So again, it's not contagious to anybody. They just have to be in a home before we can start treatment. We do have some fun upcoming events. So this Saturday at Taproom Coffee in Atlanta, we're doing a Leashes and Lattes adoption event from 9 to 11. And then tomorrow is Take 'em Home Tuesday, which is a free adoption event. So for the foreseeable future, every Tuesday, all of the adoption fees are waived. And the goal for this is Tuesday night is when we do our humane capacity count. So we have to get our numbers down to 475 dogs in the building. As of right now, we have 491 dogs in the building. So we're about 20 over capacity. So any dog that leaves, whether from short-term foster, adoption, or of course, long-term foster, helps us get that number down, and it's really helpful. Fostering is free, of course, but if you're not able to bring a dog home for foster, we are in need of some donations. So we are out of newspapers right now. We need some newspapers. We also need large and extra large crates, and then we need Benabones, which is a certain type of bone that's really hard to ruin and digest. So that's one of the only toys that the dog can have in the crate. So again, this is Strawberry Picnic. We've brought 2 dogs, I believe, Renesca and then Griddles. Griddles was adopted, and then Renesca was pulled by a rescue. So neither of them are in our care anymore. So we would love for that to happen for Strawberry Picnic. Again, she's such a sweetheart. So thank you guys so much for having us. We really appreciate being here, and fingers crossed for Strawberry Picnic.
So this is just one of our animal-related initiatives. At the urging of Councilwoman Harris, we have now placed chip readers at the front of City Hall outside and at the dog park in Brook Run, which allows you, if you find a lost dog, to bring it to either place. Here is 24 hours a day. The park is open dawn to dusk. And so you can take it and scan it to see if you can find the owner. It has instructions in the box to tell you what to do and how to do it. Or you can go online to our Facebook page and watch the great video of Stacy with her dog demonstrating it. And then we just got an email over the weekend from someone who would like to do like the little book library, but instead it has supplies for pet owners who might be struggling financially. And we look forward to partnering with that organization as they bring their resources to Dunwoody as well. So adopt this dog, please. Adorable, so cute. And with that, Jennifer, I think we're ready for you.
Camera right here will catch you. So just like over here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome. And then you can just face council. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for letting us be here tonight to profile and highlight the members of the U City Council at Dunwoody High School. Thank you for having dinner with them tonight and talking about lots of issues facing young people and facing our city. It's a great opportunity for them to meet you all and discuss topics that are important to them. This program started 10 years ago, so we are celebrating a decade. It started in 2016. That's lots of donuts, but also lots of great questions and really good discussions. So we meet monthly at the high school and have a different speaker each month, and it's been a great experience. And the man who has been there from the beginning is the sponsor, Mike Berry, with Dunwoody High School, and we have a little surprise for him. We have a great collage picture of his of group pictures from over his 10 years. He is not leaving the high school. Don't start that rumor. He is going to move on from this program because he has so much going on with sports and school and his classes. So we will have a new sponsor for the program next year, Dr. Jamie Davis, who will be wonderful. But we are so grateful to Mr. Berry, his great questions, great organization skills, and for leading this program for so long. Thank you very much.
Wow, I did not expect this. Thank you very much, Jennifer. And thank you to the city for each year, how much time that you guys give to the students and making yourselves available, coming out and speaking with the students, inviting them for dinner. It's been really such, I think, a positive impact on the students who have some interest in government and through meeting with you guys, not only are they informed about what you do for your jobs and about the city, but I think the biggest thing, the biggest impact this has is it takes government away from being this abstract thing that's unattainable for the students. And it really makes them understand that it's something that they can participate in, and that they can have an impact in their community just by getting involved and meeting with their city officials. And so we've been really blessed to have 6 guest speakers come out this year and speak with the students on Mr. Hannigan, on the Mayor Deutsch, Chief Carlson, Michael Starling, on the Rachel Waldron, and Jennifer as well. All came out. They informed the students, and they answer their questions. And again, I think hopefully the long term of this is these students, as they come through, go and become active citizens in their communities when they become adults. And hopefully that's what's happening here. So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it.
Hi, I am Bo Betcher. I'm the quote unquote mayor of the U City Council. It's a title I came up with about 45 minutes ago. I started this, I became a member when I was a freshman. At the time, I had no idea how big of a deal backyard chickens were. I can confidently say now that, I do realize, and along with all the other stuff that I've learned throughout the 4 years and that you guys have taught the club. I just want to say thank you for everything. And I'm sure that it's going to be even better, in the future with all the great leaders that we have coming up next year. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we all coming down, Jennifer, for this one? Okay.
All right, look great. Making a bunch, step one smiling. Congratulations, everybody.
Hey. I think we're waiting for Madeline, but Sharon, do you have to read this one? I think you do. Right, Sharon has to read it. That's on me.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 27 of the City of Dunwoody Code of Ordinances to define and provide use regulations for vape shops.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Paul has actually been sort of carrying this through the process so far, but he's out of town for the National Planning Conference, so I am filling in for the presentation this evening. So yes, we are introducing a text amendment to regulate vape shops in Dunwoody as a standalone use. Back in February, you all approved a 90-day moratorium to prohibit any new vape shops from opening, to give time to create these regulations. One thing we would like to note is that the text amendment is scheduled for a second read on May 11th. That is also the same day that the moratorium expires. So if you don't anticipate being able to vote on the regulations that evening, we would recommend extending the moratorium. So that's just a quick note for you all. And then the origin of this text amendment is it was actually brought to us by one of your fellow council members, Councilman Seconder. And so at his direction, staff has prepared this amendment. And hopefully, I know Paul's gone tonight. I've studied all of the text extensively, but if there's anything I'm missing, I'm sure Mr. Seconder can assist there. The way we've presented this regulation is that we are defining the standalone use of vape shops and then incorporating it into our regulating land use table. So for the definition of vape shops, we want to first decide how we measure the product sales and also define the types of products that a standalone vape shop sells. So for when we're looking at how much product that they sell, we're defining it by both floor area and the volume of product compared to other things that a place might sell. We actually regulate other items by volume, already. So for things, if you open a restaurant and you want to sell alcohol, we say 50% of your sales have to be food, and then the other 50% can be alcohol. So this is a type of regulation we are familiar with. And so we've defined this as 25% or more of aggregate retail sales. If you are doing 25% or more of vape product sales, then you are defined as a vape shop. We also are measuring it by floor area. So if you have a store and you sell a variety of products, if 25% or more of your floor area is dedicated to the display and sale of these vape products, then you are deemed a standalone vape shop. These are the types of things that we would regulate through the business license process. So if somebody wants to sell vape products, we would have them submit their floor plan as part of the business license. And then as they renew their business license as the same as it is for alcohol, we would have them break down their retail sales. The standalone vape shops, we've included 4 product groups in this. So we have alternative nicotine products. So that's nicotine gum, pouches, dip, gummies. There's a lot of new ways to ingest nicotine these days. So it's sort of an extensive list. And then you have the vapes themselves. So the disposable vapes, but also the vapes that you can refill. Those are all captured by this definition. And then in standalone vape shops, there's also a lot of other smoking paraphernalia that come along with those types of shops. And so we've also included that in this definition as well. So smoking devices. I am sort of embarrassed to be showing this SpongeBob smoking paraphernalia, but those are the types of products that these places sell. And this is just an example of a typical smoke shop in terms of their design and lighting and the variety of products that they sell. And so this definition is intended to capture this type of use. Again, it's directed towards standalone vape shops. It's not intended to stop people from vaping or from regulating personal behavior, but treating these as a standalone use. The reason is because as a standalone use, they're a lot more accessible and they're a lot more visible. There's been a lot of discussion lately around youth vape use and youth nicotine use. And so that is one of the driving factors behind this, is just trying to make it less visible as a land use and less, vivid in our shopping centers. So we're regulating this through our use standards in our commercial districts. So we've defined vape shops as a standalone use, and then we're adding it to the land use table. So within the land use table, you have to say within each district, is it allowed or is it prohibited? We've just marked them all as prohibited and just outright saying that standalone vape shops are not permitted within the city of Dunwoody. Again, this is not preventing from convenience stores or grocery stores from selling nicotine products. It's just saying as a standalone use, we don't see this as appropriate in Dunwoody. This is just a quick graphic to define the area measurement, just visually so you can see how it would be measured. So essentially you draw a rectangle around every area that has vape products, and then within that rectangle it can't exceed 25% of the total floor area. So you can see in the green, these are measured appropriately, and then they don't exceed 25%. But if you are breaking it up and putting it in different areas of the store, that rectangle goes around the entire area that those fit into. And so something like the red would not be appropriate. You would have to consolidate that into a smaller area in order to not be defined as a vape shop. At the Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission did not pass a recommendation of approval for the text amendment. They voiced some concerns over including CBD and Delta 8 and THC products into this ordinance. And then they also had concerns about whether this should actually be regulated as sort of a separate use. So again, just to reiterate for next steps, this is proposed for a second read on May 11th. But if you don't anticipate passing or making a vote on this at that meeting and you want more time, we would recommend you all extend the moratorium at that time then. And then if you guys have any questions, I'm available.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Catherine?
What are our neighboring cities doing about vape shops?
So we've actually pulled this a model ordinance from adjacent cities in the northern metro area. I don't know exactly what, I believe like Johns Creek regulates vape shops as a standalone use. And I know Paul spoke with their planning department to get some guidance on how to write the ordinance. So we've taken inspiration from other cities in the area.
I think it is concerning that you're singling it out, whereas you aren't doing that with CBD shops or gun shops. Does Johns Creek have regulations against those as well?
That I don't know. I would have to look that up.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Go ahead. Rob, sorry.
Can you, I guess, give us a little bit more detail on Planning Commission discussion on this issue, since it looked like there are a couple of different concerns. One, that it wasn't encompassing enough, and one that it was maybe too much overreach. It kind of, I get the sense people maybe voted against it for different reasons. Just thoughts on what they were thinking or what they said?
Yeah, so when you look at the CBD and Delta 8 and THC products, that was not included in this report. CBD serves a different demographic, or it has a different look. It's different types of products. It just operates differently than a standalone vape shop. And so we viewed it as different and didn't incorporate it into this definition. Now, when we talk about the land use law concern, staff's position is that it is appropriate to regulate these as a land use. We have lots of other different specific definitions in our code. We regulate pawn shops differently than regular land use, than other like retail land uses. We regulate, quick cash services differently than regular banks. And so this is common practice already. And also we have to be responsive to new uses and new trends that come along. The code isn't a stagnant document. And so we have to be able to review things as they come up and, as they become discussion in the community. So.
Right. So then pivoting then to a question about implementation, you mentioned that as part of the business license, an applicant would provide a floor plan. So I'm assuming that there are grocery stores and gas stations that already sell vapes today. Would they have to then create a floor plan to get their next business license renewal? And would they have to do that every year or just the first year?
So for existing convenience stores and grocery stores, we don't see that as necessarily a concern. This is more for, new shops that are trying to open in Dunwoody, and they are including these types of things in their product list. And if we feel that, every time a business wants to open in Dunwoody, they have to give a detailed description of what they want to do and the types of things they want to sell and how they're going to structure their business. And so if we flag that, okay, it looks like this could be considered a vape shop, that's when we would go down the line of asking them to provide more detail.
So just as a hypothetical, let's say a business decides they're going to have 20% of their floor space and business selling vape products. They submit a floor plan, and then after they're open for a year, they decide we want to move our floor plan around. Do they need to then resubmit, or is their initial submission adequate because they've already kind of set a threshold of,
I'm sorry, I messed up. This was a public hearing.
oh,
We should, this is on me. It's on me, right? This is a public hearing. Yes, and it takes the first read. I'm sorry.
all
I
right.
need to open the public hearing first. Sorry. If there are public comments, unless there's an objection, this public hearing is opened. Unless there are objections, I see none, it's open. If anyone would like to speak for this ordinance to amend, to define and provide use regulations for vape shops, you may approach the microphone and we'll have 10 minutes. All right, seeing no one, if anyone would like to speak against this ordinance to provide regulations for vape shops, approach the microphone, you'll have 10 minutes. Yes, ma'am. If you want to speak for or against, it doesn't matter at this point. Okay, that's fine. Come on up. Just say your name so that.
Right, I'm Susan Blackwell. I noticed when I went towards Shamley High School, here's Shamley High School, right across the street is a vape shop. Seeing her graph there showing students, I can't believe Shamley doesn't have a policy against a vape shop right across the street from a high school. So I'm hoping everybody, the powers to be, will wisely be against anything like that around even the gas station down on North Peachtree, which is close to the high school, and they can walk there and get all this awful stuff. That we do better decision making than what Shamley has done, and allowing their kids just to cross the street and buy that stuff. I don't even know if they have a vape sensor in their schools or not, but I hate to see kids using it because it's very dangerous in the long run. So please make your decision wisely.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Come on up, introduce yourself, and share your comments, please.
Hi, I'm Lauren Stinson. I'm the proud mom of one of the people who presented on stroke awareness, and I'm also a mental health therapist. I work with all ages, from about 8 years all the way up to about 88 years. And I have worked a lot with students who have been addicted and are addicted to vaping. The comments that I get from students is usually, I wish I would have just stuck with cigarettes, because vapes are a lot harder when you're consuming nicotine to break that addiction. They're having to go to MDs and do a lot of work to break that addiction. So one of the things in our country is that we protect children. I do not believe that there is any place for a vape shop in our village. Those of us that have lived here for about 15 years, I watch the kids, the middle schoolers, the parents tell me it's a rite of passage for my middle schooler to just run free in the village. And they go to Walgreens and, they go to the ice cream shop. If we have a vape shop there, they're going to go to the vape shop, or they're going to find an older kid who's going to buy that. And that's going to increase the odds that they're going to use. We know, like when we're seeing students at home, if the parents have a lot of alcohol or a lot of drugs or nicotine, usually the kids are consuming there first. So if we put it in front of them, there's a high likelihood, and just know that we're not just dealing with, are they going to consume, but we're also going to have to think about the future and helping them deal with their addiction. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else like to speak? All right, seeing none, the public hearing is closed. And now Madeline, you can come back up and finish questions. So sorry, guys.
That's right. So I guess back to my just implementation question. If you rearrange your store, do you have to submit a new floor plan, or kind of once you've done it, are you done?
So the
The same way, we always have people provide floor plans, with any business license they submit. And as long as it's staying the same, they don't resubmit their floor plan. But if it changes, we do have people resubmit.
All right, thanks. And just a little side comment, I have a high school senior and a recent high school graduate, and the amount of vape usage in the high school, and also carts, which are marijuana or THC in high school bathrooms, especially because there's no smoke. It's much higher than you'd be comfortable with. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
John?
Thank you, Madeline, for your presentation. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Are we trying to regulate this or are we trying to prohibit this?
Sorry.
It looks to me like we are trying to prohibit it. I mean, right now, based on the chart, it's not allowed anywhere. I was on council when we had sexually orientated businesses. We were forced to have somewhere to have that. We were forced to have alcohol type businesses in the city. And what we did is we regulated based on, we drew circles around single family homes. We drew circles around churches and other places. I'm not sure why we're trying to make this illegal across the board. Is there a better way of doing this, saying where they should be instead of saying where they can't be anywhere? Right now, we have all of these products completely are allowed in every gas station in the city of Dunwoody. As far as I know, every gas station is fully stocked with all of these products today. So we're not going to get rid of them completely, but it's about this one type of store that has extra flavors or has more stock than what the gas station would have. I'm just trying to wrap my head around why are we, eliminating it everywhere? It just doesn't seem like it seems like too much to me. I don't understand why we don't do that with alcohol. I mean, I don't drink that much bourbon. Maybe we should outlaw that too. Right? I'm just trying to understand where we're at. Are we a nanny society where we're trying to stop everything? So I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I'm happy to hear more of the discussion.
So, the ordinance is written to regulate it as a land use specifically, and saying as a land use, a standalone vape shop is not permitted in any zoning district. We do have very specific laws for alcohol in Chapter 4, and those laws, dictate, where and how and when that can be sold. And it does limit the, number and of liquor stores that we have in Dunwoody. For vape shops specifically, they're marked as prohibited. We have very limited commercial areas in Dunwoody. And so distance regulations for those, might not have much of an effect. You could still, build them. But this ordinance is just written as a hard line of saying this is not appropriate as a standalone use. Again, it's not meant to regulate behavior or to, prevent Dunwoody citizens from being able to purchase them. It's just saying as a land use, these types of shops are not appropriate.
Stacy, your question.
When you said, Councilwoman Lautenbacher asked a question about other jurisdictions, you said Johns Creek regulates them. Do they regulate them or do they prohibit them?
Again, I don't know the specifics about.
So, do any of the jurisdictions around us? I mean, because I'm kind of like with John, it's not a regulation, it's a prohibition. So I'm just curious if anyone else prohibits them.
That is information that I can do a little bit more research.
I did a little research. I recently, Dalton, just in about a month ago, did an ordinance very similar to this. It's prohibited citywide. Dublin and Eatonton also have similar ordinances. Those are the only three I could find in Georgia. There might be others. Those are the only three I could find.
Was there any thought given? Because Eric and I are having a disagreement. I feel like not too long ago that legalized marijuana that we were drawing the circles around, and it was medical marijuana, and that we drew circles around and said it could only be in these certain places in the city, but it is legal. So you can have medical marijuana, but not a vape shop. I guess I'm kind of with John, like why we're singling out this, but medical marijuana, it would be allowed.
Right.
My understanding for medical marijuana is because of the. I'm sorry.
I think we had to, right?
Yeah, well, I think the way the state law is written, a regular pharmacy cannot sell the medical marijuana. It sort of has to be its own standalone business. So in order to accommodate the sale of that in Dunwoody according to state law, it needed to be regulated and defined as its own use.
That actually makes a little bit more sense to me. Okay. Just still like John trying to wrap my head around it.
Joe, sorry.
Yeah, maybe next time, just if I didn't know Paul was going to be here, but he did. I just sent an email out as well to everybody. So Johns Creek does a citywide uh, um, banning of the vape shops. I don't want to put Ken on the spot legally because we did not prep for this conversation, but what is the analogy here of the state constitution that permits us municipality to do something that we're entertaining to do? Would you mind just giving us a primer, Ken? I.e., there's a lot of stuff in our code regarding sexually oriented businesses, adult oriented businesses. I wasn't on council. I don't know how that is defined, but I don't know if there's any place that would allow those sexually permitted businesses. There are places that.
Yeah, because it was a it was a federal Supreme Court ruling
right, so
that
that
you
was
have
unique.
to allow.
Okay,
So, yeah.
but in general, Ken, could you just the primer of the state constitution?
I really can't, Joe.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Fine.
I would just tell y'all, this didn't originate out of legal, obviously. It was vetted between Paul and Thomas Mitchell. Let me just stop there and just simply say, I think there's things that need to be addressed before the next time it's read. And we'll be glad to brief y'all however we need to, but while maintaining the privilege.
You finished? Okay. So if it was up to me, we would ban vapes. I believe they're going to be the next cigarette somewhere down the road that there's lots of lawsuits about. I think there already are lawsuits. There was an article in the paper the other day about an 18-year-old who has lung cancer connected to vaping. I think that they had promise. I think the promise is gone. I think to the point, we don't want them near our schools. I think they're already in our stores. This is like, in some ways, it's actually different than a sexually oriented business because you can buy this stuff on every corner already. The question is what kind of businesses do we want to attract to our community? And also they can still open. They can be a vape store. They just have to sell 75% of other stuff. They don't have to not, they can call themselves whatever they want. They can still sell vapes. They're just limited to 25%. If I was ever going to be first on something, this might be something because I generally don't like to be first, but I think this is sort of simple. In Sandy Springs, they have 7 vape shops between the river and 285 on Roswell Road alone. So at a minimum, if we don't like the idea of banning them altogether, then we have to do something else. We have to regulate them near schools. We have to put a distance requirement, maybe related to gas stations that already sell them. We have to do something. So because we have been so fortunate in Dunwoody, someone mentioned the village. The village real estate's really high end. We still got a THC store, whatever they call that. And so we have to be really careful in anticipating what one small economic downturn might do to our commercial real estate. And so, and again, of all the things that we're asked that we might be first in, this one doesn't bother me. I usually don't like to be first. We are not, just to clear the record, I'm guessing that Paul didn't know this, we are not allowed to regulate guns. It is in the state constitution. We are prohibited from making the simplest of regulations as it relates to guns. And so we can't do that. So it's totally not apples to apples. There are probably other businesses that are, but we regulate alcohol pretty heavily, I think, as someone who's had to change the ordinance over and over and over again. So if you'll get with Ken, Richard will get to Ken to clear up any legal mess.
Mayor, let me say
Yes.
this, so I don't look like a potted plant over
Right,
here.
that's okay.
I can say this, the constitutional standard for any kind of zoning is regulation of time, place, and manner. Those 3 words, time, place, and manner. When you try to prohibit conduct, assuming that you are otherwise able to do it, then it's a much trickier legal maneuver. And so if that's what we're trying to do, we would need to go back to Thomas and figure out what that path looks like. But typically, when you're talking about circles, somebody's talking about circles, other regulating time, place, manner, like distances and things like that, is okay. It's when you try to eliminate them completely, the standard is much different. And so I'll stop on that. I hope that
Okay, you'll
helps.
just get, okay, bring it back in a couple of weeks whenever it comes back, second read. All right, next is consent agenda, and I have to go wash my hands from the dog, so I'm gonna give this to.
Okay, we are at the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments? John?
I have a question regarding the Americas brief. We've done that previously. Is there a reason why we're doing it again?
There's I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I should have briefed you.
Yeah, y'all previously approved by resolution, the Chang versus Milton brief on behalf of the city of Milton joining it, amicus curiae, which was successful in the appellate courts. There's another legal challenge arising from the same case with different legal issues. And I just simply tell the mayor, when the mayor of Milton asked for us to adopt a resolution, since we adopted the first one, rather than me unilaterally expanding it, I'd like to get it on the record that y'all are okay with that. It is still the city's position to support that case. The legal challenge is significant and would affect you and other cities. And I expect the same group that joined before will join again. And I want to say it was nearly like 89 or 90 cities joined in that brief, and we were one of them. And I expect that to be the same.
And the facts are the same in the case. What's the difference in this? Is there any circumstances different in the sense of the law that we're joining or that?
No, it's the same case.
Same case.
Same case. A different legal rationale has been propounded by the plaintiffs that's being challenged, that is on appeal.
Yeah, I just didn't compare them both.
Yeah.
You know, I red line one from the other. But I read what's on the agenda. I read what's on the agenda, and I'm fine with it. I just want to make sure I get it from you.
Yeah, I think that probably we could have just authorized it, but I just wanted to get it in the minutes more than anything, John.
Thank you, sir.
Any additional questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Rob, second by John. All in favor of passing consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimous. Next up is our business items.
The next item on the agenda is an ordinance to amend Dunwoody, Georgia Charter Article 4, Section 4.01, creation, Article 4, Section 4.02, paren C, judges, and Article 4, Section 4.03, convening.
So this is the second read. Just note for purposes of the record, all these reads that are coming up have been advertised as required by law, both in the Champion and the Crier. The law only requires us to advertise in the legal organ of the county for purposes of a charter amendment, but we also did the Crier and the Champion, so it's been advertised in compliance with law. We were simply asked to go back and revisit this section to do one thing, a couple things. Number one, and it's probably easier if I read it to get it right. To amend Article 4, Section 4.01 by designating the title, number, and confirming powers and duties of judges. Article 4, Section 4.02C to create term limits. Article 4, Section 4.03 by adding the word chief to same. So before you just had judge or judges, we'll have a chief judge and as many associate judges who are appointed by mayor and confirmed by council. The part that was added says this said court shall be presided over by a chief municipal judge duly appointed by the mayor and confirmed by council, and such number of associate municipal judge or judges as duly appointed by the mayor and confirmed by council. Associate judges shall have the same power and duties while presiding as a chief judge. As to the term limits, all judges shall serve a term all judges shall serve for a term of 4 years, but in no event more than 2 consecutive or non-consecutive terms. The term limits herein apply prospectively to all appointments or reappointments made on or after May 1st, 2026. And the rest of the ordinance is the same, except for adding the word chief in front of judge on 4.03 convening. As to term limits, no time served right now matters. What matters is appointments after May 1st of 2026 or reappointments after 2026. So this is not an ex post facto term limit. It's a going forward term limit. And it didn't originate from us. We're simply putting the words together to carry out the intent that we've been asked to bring before council.
What?
And it is a second read. It's been advertised as required by law. If we're ready to move.
John, go ahead.
I'm trying to understand and wrap my head around that. I see that we have 2 or 3 of our judges here today. We've had public comment against some aspects of it. I would state that we already have term limits. Right now, we have term limits because right now your term is up, correct me if I'm wrong, and the mayor has to then renominate you and you come back in front of us. Is that not the case?
Well, that is the case, but the mayor has term limits, and so it kind of made sense to, in my view, it kind of made sense to have the judges' terms run with the mayor. But
with
yes,
all of the different judges that are happening, and I mean, they're not all up at once would be my guess. Maybe
so
I'm wrong, but
for the most part, 6 of our 7, correct me if I'm wrong, are up at the same time. So we got on a cycle where they were up on the same time.
again, I don't have a term limit. We all don't have term limits here except for the mayor. I don't want to be hypocritical by putting term limits on others. I see the value of having judges that are, are long in the tooth. That being said, I do believe that there are term limits. We have the process in place in front of us right now. If the mayor is in charge of nominating judges to us, the council who approve. If there is a reason, shape, or it's the mayor's full discretion. I'm not sure why we need to change this now, looking at it a little deeper than we have. The rest of the chief judge and the rest of it, I'll defer. I was, also hoping that the judges were part of this discussion. I'm guessing that they may not have been, but I'm trying to understand what's in front of us now. And if the term limits want to be remaining in, is that number the correct number? Why 4 years? Why not?
Well, it's 8 years. It is 8 years.
But why not? Why 2 terms? Why not 4 terms? I'm just trying to understand. But to me, I think the mayor has the full authority to do as he or she says and can put that nomination forward or not.
That's true. I mean, it's council's discretion. Go ahead, Joe.
Respectfully, this is the first time I just heard from any of our judges. So I have an email. I'm not sure if anybody else got emailed, but we're accessible and open. So I don't apologize when you may or may not have heard about this change, but it had been posted and the public knew, and we added in our last, we've presented it before, number 1. Number 2, if we vote in the affirmative, it could still be modified in the future. There's nothing to prevent modifying our charters. That's what we're doing now. We're adjusting. And then just from a commentary, I do support term limits, and I would go if we were to do council, I'd say 3 terms, 3 terms for council. Sure, no one's irreplaceable. So those are my thoughts.
I have a question for Ken. Well, wait, does anybody else have something down here? Okay, I have a question. Does everything about the judges have to be regulated in the charter, or can some of it be regulated by ordinance? For municipal court? You may not know the answer.
I think it depends on what you're talking about. I mean, you regulate the crimes that are, or the citations that are in front of judges, but the power is from the charter, emanates from the charter.
But the power emanates from the charter to the judges or to the court? Like in the charter, could you just say you were going to have a municipal court and then not talk about judges, or you probably have to talk about judges in the charter?
To empower by virtue of the charter, the court.
Okay. All right. It's amendable, right? I mean, if somebody cares enough to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the item in front of us to remove term limits.
Wait a second.
So can I?
Wait. Go ahead.
Point of order.
You need
Wait,
to
point
second.
of order, what?
Do we need a motion before we take an amendment?
Probably.
Okay, well, I make a motion to whatever. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead, Ken.
Go ahead, Ken.
Or am I, so what's in here, what's in the charter is, but you can function what's in the charter. When we were looking at it, aside from the term limits, we thought it was appropriate to have a chief judge because there already was technical violations of the charter by the number of judges based on what was in the charter. So if we went back to the charter, we have more judges than the charter originally contemplated to start with. So that's why we put a chief judge, but we gave associate judges when presiding the same power as a chief judge.
Right.
We also, so the part that matters to me as a lawyer is I do think that structure of chief judge and associates having the power while presiding as a chief judge is appropriate. The term limit is a political decision y'all got to make. But John, I don't know if that addresses your question. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have a bunch of different motions as far as the legal part. The legal part, I think, is getting the judges correct because we were already sort of lopsided on that. That's fixing that. The term limits is up to y'all.
And we are able to make modifications to what's in front of us tonight.
So what I would feel comfortable with, if you don't do something advertised, that's fine. If you're going to do something, it has to fall within the gamut of what was advertised. If it's something completely off the rails, we may need to start all over again.
So deleting the term limits would be acceptable?
Deleting the term limits, we would just go back to what's in section 4.02, subject to the other changes in 4.01 and 4.03, which have nothing to do with term limits.
Thank you.
What about expanding the number of term limits? What if we say, like, Joe mentioned 3, we say, well, we think 3 is better than 2. Would that fall within that same?
So here's the tricky part of this. What's been advertised is 2.
Right.
And so when you're doing more, the best answer would be to advertise that and do it correct. So if somebody willy-nilly one day ever challenges it, it's perfect. The jury's still out as to whether or not you can make changes, and somebody's judicial interpretation, did that change fall within the ambit of what was being advertised? And so, that's a concern of mine, I'll just say.
So start over, John, because we never got. Oh, wait, Stacy, I'm sorry.
I just want to be clear. So right now in our charter, it says the judge shall serve it for a term of 4 years, but may be removed if they're not good judges. After 4 years, they have to be reappointed by the mayor, correct?
Yes.
And confirmed by council.
Yes.
I don't ever remember voting.
You've only done it once, and you did. You approved these judges. We swore
Okay.
them in.
But
Right, Sharon? We had a resolution.
okay.
But you don't interview them or anything. They
No,
just say, okay.
But I've been on here 7 years and so they've only been once, so they would theoretically have to come up.
Their next,
Okay.
their terms expire this end of June.
Okay.
So that's why we're trying to get this done now.
Okay. I'm just
Saying that it's why you don't remember because it's been once and it was nearly 4 years ago. All right, anybody else? Questions or comments? Tom?
I'd like to make a motion to amend.
No, first you have to make a motion, approve
All right,
the,
okay.
right.
Move to approve
with,
with the condition that we are removing term limits from this item.
I'll second.
all right.
Can I get a point of clarification? So
Yes.
since that's only in section 4.02, we would stick with the 4.02 that's already on the books. Is that right, John? In other words, in structuring the term limits, we rewrote part of subsection A. We did not rewrite, rewrote part of subsection C. And so if we go back, it would read this way: the judge shall serve for a term of 4 years, but may be removed from position by a 2/3 vote of the entire membership of city council,
Again,
and shall be removed upon action taken by State Judicial Qualifications Commission 4, and there's a list of conduct things that could get a judge removed.
Correct. I'm just looking for the term limits to be removed.
Okay.
Everything else stays. Again, I don't have a red line in front of me, so.
Okay. Well, here's how it would read if we leave everything under C, just for clarification, that's been proposed. If we take out the term limits, it would just simply say, all judges shall serve for a term of 4 years. Judges may be removed from the position by a 2/3 vote of the entire membership of the city council, or shall be removed upon action taken by the state judicial qualifications for, and it's the same conduct thing.
Correct.
If that's what it will revert back to if we leave it. So if your motion is to approve the changes, except for the 4.02 term limit language, we would go back to the original, we would keep everything but the 4.02.
Correct.
Okay, so
That
that's
was my intention. I believe that's what Tom seconded.
right.
When I say we'll keep everything, so I'm technically correct, we'll keep the 4.02 as it currently is and is proposed modified, except for the C language that deals with term limits. That would be removed.
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion or questions? Go ahead.
I'm just open up, I'm open to hearing the opposing view. If there's any other council members that are believe that we should have the term limits in here. If you feel like speaking up now, I'd be more than interested in hearing your perspective if you feel so.
Go ahead.
I feel we have spent time looking at this section and discussing how long the judges have been serving. Some number have served since day one. I think we need the term limits. They're much like the mayor. It's just not a forever job. And I will be voting against John's amendment.
I'm going to say, I think John actually made a pretty good argument that I think the next time this comes up for a council, I think we can look at that and go, 16 years is enough, right? Let's let someone new come in, or we can go, I think things are running well. Let's keep going. It was compelling enough for me that I agree with the amended.
Could I ask you, Rob, a question? And this goes back to the mayor, but if we look at our boards and commissions, those are recommended by the mayor and brought up on a council agenda for action. So what you're saying, Rob, is that you would trust the next mayor to make that decision and not the council. So the mayor's going to present it right now. The boards and commission appointments get placed on an agenda by the mayor.
So does this.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
so does this. You voted on it, I don't know, 4 years ago?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. ma'am.
Okay.
So, but if there were other council members that heard or was, there was public, how does it work if we say, well, we don't want to do you want to have input in addition to the mayor of replacing?
My understanding though is that the resolution, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, the resolution for the judges is voted on by council.
Yes.
Appointments to boards are the prerogative of the mayor. So the mayor.
No, you still vote on them.
Still vote on
The
them?
nomination.
It's a nomination, and they should probably be term limited too, but I don't know.
And to be clear, if there is a judge when their term is up, there's no obligation of the mayor or anyone else to renominate that same person. If there was an issue with a particular judge, that person could simply not be nominated for another term.
Mayor's prerogative.
And I'll make the comment, when I joined the planning commission, Denny Shortle, I don't want to say cleaned house, but he kind of decided that everybody that had been serving on planning commission had been there long enough and didn't renew anybody's terms. And so half the planning commission kind of rolled off, and they'd been, kind of long-term members since the beginning of the city. So it does happen that the mayor and council do decide it's time for fresh blood in roles.
You mean the mayor? The mayor would decide.
Except that we vote. I mean, it's a council vote.
I voted against nominations before. I'm not suggesting y'all do, but I voted against nominations pretty much the whole last year of my city council service for lots of different reasons. But certainly it can happen. I think when I look at the ordinance, so one thing we can do in the ordinances, I think, is define what the selection process looks like better, because it is in the ordinances. In section 12-2, there's a section about judges, and it feels like we could add to the ordinance if we wanted to some best practices about selection of judges. And then maybe that addresses council participation by putting a council member on said selection committee or something. We don't have to decide that tonight.
I don't think that the council is doing its due diligence. I'll put myself in the same category in determining whether these judges should remain. I think it's like the presidential election. They're going to give you two, and then that's all there is. Because I can't name one judge that we have, and we've had him for a long time. I think this is a safer policy.
Okay. Any further discussion? I will call the question. All in favor of John's amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 4-3. Voted against it. Yeah. The noes were seconder Lautenbacher and me. Thank you all for your diligence.
I
All
just
right.
want,
Yes.
Madam Mayor, before you go on, I want to make sure the clerks got it right. So John's motion was the singular motion in that, but it was amending what had been advertised essentially. You got that? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, next, you have to do it, Ken, sorry.
Yeah. Sharon, you're going to read?
Oh, Sharon has to read, sorry.
The next item is second read of an ordinance to amend Dunwoody, Georgia Charter, Article 2, Section 2.09, paren A, meetings, oath of office, and Mayor Pro Tempore.
Madam Mayor and Council, the proposed charter amendment, which has been advertised as required by law, and also additionally in the local paper, it's been in the Crier and the Champion, seeks to amend Article 2, Section 2.9 of the Charter of the City by changing the date of the first meeting in January after a municipal election to the first Monday excluding legal holidays. The oath is exactly the same as it's been. It now would read in subsection A 2.09 meetings, oath of office, Mayor Pro Tem. A, the city council shall meet on the first Monday excluding legal holidays in January immediately following each regular municipal election. Meeting shall be called to order by the mayor-elect, and the oath of office shall be administered to the newly elected mayor and council members collectively by a judicial officer authorized to administer oaths. The oath shall say, to the extent that it comports with federal and state law, comma, be as follows, colon, it's the same oath. And so this has been advertised. It's ready for discussion and a motion if appropriate.
This is a really necessary change because every 2 years when we have an election, there is so much confusion about this. Plus, the truth is that in theory, you could go a week without a mayor. I mean, sort of, because like Denny went on a cruise and it was like 6 days before I was sworn in officially. And so this is just a much smoother transition and kind of reflects what everybody else does, which is the first Monday after the new year. So
Excluding a holiday.
excluding a holiday, so then it would be Tuesday.
Move to approve.
Moved by Tom, second by Rob. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Thank you. Any opposed? No, that passes unanimously.
Bear with me one moment, please. The next item is an ordinance to amend Dunwoody, Georgia Charter, Article 1, Section 1.03, paren B, paren 36, powers and construction. Article 1, Section 1.03, paren B, paren 37, paren A, powers and construction. And Article 1, Section 1.03, paren B, paren 43, powers and construction.
Madam Mayor and council, this has been discussed. It's been advertised both in the Crier and the Champion. I do want to make sure you know that section 43 is part of this. That section 43 change is if in case the city ever determines it wants to have its own fire department, the limiting language has been removed. But it includes 43, and that's what was advertised. I actually read the Champion and Crier just to make sure that the ad was correct. So the agenda includes 1.03.B 36, 37A, and 43. And the and 43 is a Scribner error, but it has been advertised appropriately. And you'll remember during the original discussion before we even started advertising, this was brought up by Councilman Lambert about the removal, just in case one day the city ever has its own fire department. But I'm going to spend just a tad more time on this one because this one bears, somebody said it's not whether you could or should. Well, I want to make sure everybody understands you can. It's very important legally to understand what we're doing is we're cleaning up language that is inconsistent and vague in the charter. And so under the powers, under section 1.03, and this would be Article 1, creation and corporation powers, section 1.03, powers and construction, sub A, the very first sentence. The city shall have all powers possible for a city to have under the present or future constitution and laws of the state as fully and completely as though they were specifically enumerated in this act. The city shall have all powers of self-government not otherwise prohibited by this act or general law. So the very first sentence incorporates the state constitution, not how it just was on that day, but as it's been amended through time. You have all those powers. It then goes on to list under subsection B, the powers of the city shall be construed liberally in favor of the city, and it gives a bunch of enumerated powers. But I first want to talk about, well, what are the powers we're talking about special tax district? First, under Georgia Constitution, Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 2, the Home Rule Statute gives you the power to regulate the charter. That was passed on to you by virtue of the legislature in OCGA Section 36-35-6, sub 1. Municipal charters may be amended by ordinances duly adopted, and it goes through the process about advertising and 2 reads and all that kind of stuff. So it's clear when you can do it. The special tax districts are also in the Constitution, even though they're buried in Section 43 as well. But the Constitution right now, Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 6, allows cities to have special tax districts. And I tell folks, when you're looking at the laws, the first thing that comes first is the Constitution. Then general laws that apply to everybody. And then local acts, this is a local act or local law, is third on the list. So you already have in the very first subsection A of 1.03, the powers that are granted to you in the Constitution, which includes implementation of special tax districts. I also want to point out in section 43 already, it says special tax districts to exercise all authority provided by Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 6 of the Constitution of Georgia to create special tax districts for the provision of local government services within such districts and to collect fees, assessment, and taxes within such district to pay wholly or partially the cost of providing such services therein, period. The last sentence is being eliminated by virtue of this proposal. So you already have this. And you're not creating a special tax district tonight. There's a specific statutory mechanism for how you create it. If you created it before the end of the year, you could not impose it this year anyway. It has to be in place before January 1 of the year it's intended to be imposed. And I also might add, as far as tools in the box, you can have a special tax district that you levy zero. Even though it's adopted before January 1 of the year in question, you could still have a levy of zero. So we think the Constitution trumps. We think the Constitution is the first thing in here and supersedes everything else. And then general law supersedes everything else. And the legislature has given you all the powers to not come to them every time you want to change a word in your charter. You do it yourself nowadays. That's how it works. So we're cleaning up the charter, and this was with legal analysis by me and team. And we're doing the following, or proposing the following that's been advertised. Proposed charter amendment seeks to amend Article 1, Section 1.03, parens B, parens close, parens 36, parens close, comma, parens 37, parens close, parens again, A, parens close, and 43 as follows. In section 36, in subsection 36, by adding the words, quote, except as provided in section 1.03 B 43. In subsection 37A, by the way, the section 1.03 B 43 is a provision I read to you that says special tax districts, giving you the power to exercise all authority by the Constitution when it comes to special tax district. In section 37A, by adding the following sentence, this subsection shall not apply to section 1.03 B 43, nor shall same apply to general obligation bonds or intergovernmental contracts backing revenue bonds issued pursuant to law. Let me pause for a second. This is not saying we're issuing bonds, because to issue bonds, GO bonds, general obligation bonds, you got to go to the voters for a referendum. That's the law. It's not, doesn't matter what your charter says, that's state law. With respect to intergovernmental contracts, you are authorized by state law to enter into other contracts with other governments for longer than you can anybody else. Most contracts are annual contracts subject to annual funding, but you can enter a contract like service delivery with DeKalb County to provide you fire services or EMS. Well, let's just stick with fire services or other services. You could enter a contract with the Board of Regents or USG regarding a campus if it's in your area. And that could be for up to 50 years under the law. So those things are already there. And we're just making sure whoever wrote this wasn't thinking about that at the time. Or maybe it just didn't come up. We're putting it in because it's already there. It's provided by law. And in subsection 43, we're deleting the last sentence that deals with that restricting what you can charge if you ever decide to deliver fire services and rescue services in the city. We know you're not doing anything right now because you have a service delivery strategy, but we do know the Constitution says and state law says that nobody can provide y'all fire services unless you agree to let them provide it by contract. If you decide not to have a contract with a third party provider, the cab, for instance, and do it yourself, that restrictive sentence is so out of date, it makes no sense anymore. And Mr. Councilman Lambert brought that up just in case. We're not creating a fire service and rescue service tonight. We're simply removing obstacles in the future for future mayors and council, or this mayor and council at any time, to consider doing something differently. I think I hit those highlights, and we're open to any debate.
Questions? Oh, John, go ahead.
Ken, you mentioned Scribner's error in 36. Tell me what you meant by that.
On the agenda, it says Article 1, Section 1.03B, 36, and 37A. It does not say and 43. 43 deals with the fire services thing, but it's been advertised correctly because I've read the advertisement from the Crier and we actually advertised more than law requires because we did the local newspaper and DeKalb County, and it's been on file with the clerk here and on file with the clerk Superior Court for public inspection anytime, and it's attached to y'all's agenda.
And then may I ask, did Sharon read the item correctly if it was missing, or does it need to be reread?
Draft, not the agenda list. She read correctly.
She read correctly. I just want to make sure if there's a
Yes, I
Scribner's
think
error.
from the caption of ordinances at the very top, that legal caption of the ordinance, yes.
Okay, Thank you. I'm glad to hear all that. And thank you for the explanation. I have a question about revenue bonds. If a revenue bond, for those who might not be aware, for example, the hotel motel tax gets paid. If we did a revenue bond on that and then the hotel took a big dump, how does this section affect the repayment of revenue bonds?
So John, I would need to teach a class on that, but let me I'm gonna say it depends, but let me explain it. If a development authority issues bonds, typically they're not at risk of the local government or a failure typically. And so it depends on the type of revenue bonds. Typically what you see issuing that's not referendum or GO bonds would be like you enter a deal with GMA to finance a building where GMA owns it and you're the lessor until you make a string of payments, usually backed by financing bonds. And when those payments are made, you get the building at the end. Those are allowed by law and can be a long-term arrangement. So I think I need more specifics. I don't know if
you mentioned a lot of the other bonds and other situations, but you didn't mention revenue, so I'm not sure how it relates. And it doesn't really matter. I'm voting against this. Everybody over here knows I'm voting against this, and they're going to vote how they want. And I'm not sure it's going to matter. But
yeah,
here's just trying to understand it.
Okay, here's what I think you're saying. Can you finance a bond where the pledge is the revenue source from a special tax district?
Correct.
And the answer is yes.
You know, I know that we were, that might have been in consideration someday. But I was just wondering if then the tax rate, the millage rate would be affected, or what would happen on the special district, or what would happen under that realm?
Typically you're pledging your collection from the special district, separate from the general revenue of the city. And you're getting rated on what your ability to tax that district to pay those bonds.
Okay.
So it's typically the way you put in a special tax district. Forget about how let's just say we put this parking lot for a special tax district. To pave it, you don't have any money because you haven't collected anything yet. So you're really advance funding the paving, and then the payment back is the people that own this parking lot pay back through an assessment in the special tax district. That's how you improve the special tax district. You don't have to.
All right.
You don't have to finance through bonds, but that's how you do it.
You mentioned a lot of other bonds. I wasn't sure if revenue came into play differently. I appreciate the answer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mike, go ahead.
I guess I'm just gonna make a comment just to help, I guess, avoid confusion, is just to reiterate that we're not voting to establish a special tax district tonight. We're not voting to establish a new tax tonight. We're addressing conflicting language in the charter and getting that cleaned up. And we already have some special taxes in the city, streetlight districts and stormwater districts. And so those improvements are paid for with special taxes. So this, to me, is just a cleanup to make sure our charter matches kind of what we're already doing and what state law already requires.
Joe.
You know, the citizens, it's public knowledge that we're part-time. We get paid a stipend of $1,000 a month, and most of us have full-time jobs. I just retired about a year and a half ago, but with that $1,000 a month return on investment, some of us have opportunity to take vacation days and attend professional training. And I've been fortunate enough to have been able to do that. And I took a class. I've taken 93 hours of training at the Georgia Municipal Association. Just in March was a class on municipal finance too. I've been at 3 or 4 of them. And when you go to these, you see these other cities outside of Dunwoody, and you see people, small towns, big towns, a lot of different people have a lot of problems that we don't have. We have first world problems in Dunwoody. Let me tell you, we have great things going on here. Economic benefit, economic activity. Our taxpayers our residents are so happy because I'm paying the same amount to Dunwoody that I did in 2009 because of the freeze and all that stuff. And so when I look at the city of Madison, their downtown development authority had cash flow and they bought a liquor store. The government development authority bought a liquor store and they flipped it and made it a park. And then the development authority went out and built a new liquor store and sold it to a private developer. So when you get out of Dunwoody and you start attending classes and seeing all those other cities, they are doing tons of things here that we have available tools in our toolbox. People talk about, let's get rid of the post office. How do we pay for the post office? Where do we get money? Because we're paying the lowest property tax rate in all of Georgia, DeKalb County, whatever. If people want us to go and buy the post office, how are we going to go pay for it? How are we going to put a park in that? We got a Wildcat empty park up here on Roberts. How are we going to pay for that? So, we need to have the tools and we'll go to the citizens and ask, right? So that's one day we may have to go and come up with the money if we want to buy the post office and make it a park or something. So we need to have all these tools in toolboxes. Just like in May 11th of 2009, the elected officials at the time decided to impose a new fee on all the citizens of Dunwoody, which in my interpretation broke the charter millage rate cap, and it was called a stormwater fee. So on May 11th, 2009, that was enacted. So that's been established. Now we have a good legal advice. Let's clean up our things so we could go forward. If we want to do Dunwoody Village, if we want to have a street light district of having street lights in places along Ashford Center Parkway and let our children, people get up early in the morning, have places to see, because that really started back. We had our city council retreat in March of 2025, and we brought up the idea of, can we put in some streetlights in some places that are dark? And how can we fund that? And we asked staff to look at it. And they said, well, potentially we could consider a citywide streetlight district, but we need to have our legal fees, legal things in place. And then we're going to have conversations about it. Because I don't pay a streetlight fee, but some people do. So if we had talked about maybe we create a public safety district for public safety, but we don't need to, but it's like, so anyway, cities do have they do revenue bonds, SPLOST, people paying the penny tax. They do a revenue bond against recurring funds all the time in the state of Georgia. So anyway, I support this change. Thank you.
Stacy.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. I want to make a point, which is that the first council violated their own charter by passing fees. Just laying it out there. They did. I predict that within 24 months, maybe 36, you won't be, if you have a homesteaded property in Georgia, you're unlikely to be paying municipal property taxes anymore. I believe that's what the legislature is moving towards. They passed a bill this year. It may happen sooner, but I think it goes into effect a year from now. I can't help you with the school taxes. The legislature didn't help you with the school taxes, but except for capping how much your assessed value can go up, which is 3%. We're not, despite what you just heard from Joe, we have no plans to raise taxes. We are cleaning up the charter. And actually, we don't have a need to raise taxes right now. We have no need to raise taxes. We had a $3.5 million surplus a year ago. At the end of 2025, I believe, Eric can correct me, we'll announce another surplus. But we need to clean this up. We need your street. If a street doesn't have street lights right now, we can't let you get them. We have to fix this. It's very simple. It seems complex. People can project all they want. If we were to do a bond, you get to vote on it. It's not something we can just do ourselves. And we need to fix this to get ourselves in alignment with what we're already practicing. And in addition, we talk about fire services. It's not something we even want to take over, but it is the only way we can directly control emergency medical services. Knock on something, it's going well right now, but it's been up. If you paid any attention in Dunwoody, it's been up, it's been down. And so in the future, and then hopefully not in the near future, because we've worked really hard on it, we may have to consider changing that so that we can make sure we get rapid emergency management services, emergency medical services. But none of that's going to happen in the dark, and none of that's going to happen without robust public discussion. And so this is just to clean up the charter, despite what everyone might be angsting about. Also, if you've lived here since 2008 or 9, I encourage you to look at your property tax bill and look at your city taxes, because they haven't changed. Or, they a little bit here and there, but they haven't changed. And you pay zero county property taxes. You pay school system taxes. That's what the bulk of your bill is, and sanitation. So But there's no intention to do anything with this right now. We were making these other changes. It made sense to do it now, especially because the legislature continues. I mean, they already did make one pretty significant tweak to property taxes on homestead properties this session. I believe they will continue to talk about it either in the special session that's coming in July or for sure next year. So we're just being prepared, but we have zero need or interest in raising taxes right now. All right. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, that 5-2. Last one. Next one, whenever Sharon's ready.
Excuse me.
The next item is an ordinance to amend Dunwoody, Georgia Charter, Article 5, Section 5.03, A, submission of operating budget to City Council, and Article 5, Section 5.04, B, action by City Council on budget.
Madam Mayor and Council, the proposed amendment, this too was advertised in both the Champion and Crier as required by law and on file, all of these with the Superior Court Clerk and the City Clerk. The proposed charter amendment seeks to amend Section 5.03, and Section 5.04, in order to change the dates required in the charter for the city manager to submit for the ensuing fiscal year proposed budget by the first day of the 10th month of the fiscal year currently ending, and to change the dates required by council to adopt a budget for the ensuing fiscal year by the first day of the 12th month of the fiscal year currently ending, to read as follows. This is Section 5.03, submission of operating budget to City Council. Subsection A, on or before a date fixed by the City Council, but no later than the first day of the 10th month of the fiscal year currently ending, the city manager shall, after input, review, and comment by the mayor, submit to the City Council proposed operating budget and capital budget for the ensuing fiscal year. The budget shall be accompanied by a message from the mayor and city manager containing a statement of the general fiscal policies of the city, the important features of the budget, explanations of major changes recommended by the next fiscal year, a general summary, let me go back. Explanations of major changes recommended for the next fiscal year, a general summary of the budget, and such other comments and information as they may deem pertinent. The operating budget, capital budget, the budget message, and all supporting documents shall be filed in the office of the city manager and shall be open to public inspection. Section 5.04, action by City Council on the budget. Only thing we're amending is subsection B. City Council shall adopt a budget for the ensuing fiscal year no later than the first day of the 12th month of the fiscal year currently ending. If the City Council fails to adopt the budget by the prescribed deadline, the operating budget and capital budget proposed by the mayor and city manager shall be adopted without further action by the City Council.
All right. Any questions or comments?
Move to approve.
Moved by Rob. Second by Stacy. These are requests made by our finance department, correct?
This request came from the Charter Review Commission over 5 years ago.
Right, and it came from the finance committee before that. So.
Finance committee sanctioned this.
The staff. So, okay. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you.
The next item under business items is renewal of property and liability insurance with Garma. John Gates.
Mayor and Council. I have an action item for you tonight regarding the property and liability insurance with Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Association, known as GERMA. The action is to authorize the mayor, city manager, or designee to execute all documents necessary and proper to renew the city's property and liability insurance coverage with GERMA in the amount of $828,008. Some details: the city's property and liability insurance was bid out in 2021, moving from travelers insurance to GERMA. This contract has an auto renewal each year. Below is a comparison of the 2026 premium versus the 2025 premiums. In 2025, the total premiums were $757,019. The 2026 renewal, the amount is $828,008. The 2026 premiums are increased by $70,989 or 9.4% compared to 2025. After discussions with GERMA, this is consistent with what other members are experiencing. Additionally, GERMA noted that there are several key factors driving the need for increases to all members, most notably unfavorable claim trends dealing with auto liability and property, and high inflation levels which impact the replacement and repair costs of vehicles and buildings. Additionally, the 2026 budget included a 10% increase in premiums for a total budget of $832,720. The current renewal premium is $4,712 below what we budgeted for this year. Staff and the city attorney have reviewed the coverage and terms and are recommending approval of the renewal with GERMA. The current policy runs from May 1st of the current year to May 30th of next year. The recommendation is to authorize the mayor, city manager, or designee to execute all documents necessary and proper to renew the city's property and liability insurance coverage for May 1, 2026 to April 30th, 2027 in the amount of $828,008.
Thank you. Anybody have questions? Oh, go ahead, Rob.
So we're looking at a not quite 9.5% increase. Is that because of claims history from the city, from the larger pool, or just inflation year over year? Do we know what's causing? That's kind of a big jump. What's causing that jump?
It's a combination. It's a combination of what's happening in the city as well as what's happening generally across the pool of people that they're insured.
All right, but I mean, I'm fine with approving this, but if we have some sort of risk mitigation measures we can take in the city to reduce our contribution to the liability pool, defensive driving classes or something. I'm just looking at that. That's a rather high number there. So anyway, thank you.
Well, we do have safety training coming up and dealing with vehicle impact in terms of how our employees drive those vehicles. We have training on that that's coming up.
I think it's going up like in people's personal lives too. People are seeing big jumps in their homeowners insurance. And I'm curious because one thing is the age of roofs. I don't know if Jay, because we didn't have anybody else here, but like some people are not able to get homeowners insurance or their roofs are being excluded if their roofs are a certain age. Are we facing that kind of criteria or they don't look at that?
Right now, they're not looking at
Okay.
that.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, we have to provide that information to them.
Okay. So you do have to provide it.
Yeah.
All right. Any, oh, go ahead, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Gates. Was this put out for a competitive bid? Are we getting other quotes?
No, because we have a contract with GERMA. So this is just a renewal process.
And so the folks that did the budget for 2026, I don't have it memorized, line item 10% increase. For the 2027, are we just going to by default add another 10% each year? How is that the trend?
Here comes Jay.
Yeah, the trend has been that the insurance has gone up every now and then. When we switch companies one time, we did get a deduction. The problem is we have other issues when we switch companies based on how, GERMA is a specialty company for governmental insurances. But yes, we do budget every year an increase in insurance.
Say something about, and I'm not I'm not a stockholder in Gurma, and I'm not advertising them, but when you move, there's a cost of that move that gets built in cases 2, 3, 4 years down the road. Because when you move again, suddenly the carrier that you thought you had coverage is not as interested you as a customer anymore and tend to do things that maybe you may not want to do. Gurma is developed primarily for government, so they need to be held accountable, but you got a little bit more input in what Gurma does than you do with some of the other ones because of how they're designed for y'all only, exclusively. The other problem is the major carriers keep shrinking government coverage because of exposures. And so while you may go with a brand name today, whether they do coverages 2 or 4 years from now, they may not. And so I wouldn't give Gurma an open ticket on what you pay, but I would be very careful about changing without knowing what you're getting into.
Okay, it's an action item.
Move to approve.
Moved by Stacy, second by Rob. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, just to my fellow council members, I think Gurma has a board that city council people can get on, or mayors, but not gonna be me. But if you're interested, because we're customers, maybe consider applying the next time it opens. Is Michelle? 17, yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to present a project framework agreement with GDOT for the North Peachtree Road Path Project. This agreement is like a lot of the other federal grant projects that we've done in the past, Village and North Shallowford Road, where we have to enter into an agreement with GDOT for any phase of the project that contains federal dollars. So this project was identified in the city's adopted trail master plan. It will connect the top end regional trail network along 285. Additionally, it was identified in the city's road safety action plan that North Peachtree was a high injury network corridor and recommended increasing safety measures for both pedestrians and cyclists. Last September, the city was awarded a transportation alternative grant for preliminary engineering and right-of-way for the North Peachtree Road project. It begins at the intersection of Cotillion. It heads north along Chestnut Elementary and Peachtree Middle School, and then it ends at Barclay Drive at the park at Brick Run Park. So this grant originally included both the design and for the design and construction of the path and the sidewalk. But, we removed the sidewalk portion from this project and it was moved forward using local funding. So that scope will be removed from this project moving forward. The grant awards the city 2.1 million in preliminary engineering, 1.1 million in right-of-way. So these amounts do include the 20% local match that's required as part of the grant. The city does have an excess budget in the Chamblee Dunwoody Bridge Enhancement Project for FY 27 to 29. And so we'll utilize these funds for the project for our local match. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? So the sidewalk project is on, I'm very bad, I think, is that the east side?
It is on the east side.
And this is on the west side.
Yes.
So this will allow people to go from Chestnut, start at First Baptist.
Yeah,
and go
Cotillion
all the way up to the park.
It will connect to the paths that are planned as part of top end on Cotillion.
Right.
And so it'll be a complete connectivity, and then head all the way up to Brook Run Park.
Okay. And but the path for the other side, for the east side, we're working on that separately.
That is separate, yes.
Yeah,
They're currently doing survey.
Okay.
They're finishing up survey. It should be done in the next month or so.
Okay, great. Yeah. And so when okay. So some of this, like Chestnut already has a wide sidewalk in front of it.
So we'll connect to that. So
Okay.
that was, some of that was done
Have the
when
school
we,
system.
yes, and then we have the PHVs that are already out there.
Mhm.
And so we did plan like where those cabinets were, because we knew that this path was coming, because it was identified in the trail master plan, and so that it would be part of a future project.
And you know that we give flexibility in width, right? So if there's utilities, and because utility movement slows us incredibly down. Okay. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing this on an agenda item. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. I also am a little bit wishing that this was on the east side, but I understand that's not going to happen, but we're still looking forward to making that a reality. And I think that's very important moving forward. Looking at the documents on GDOT's website, I pulled up the project information sheet and I saw that the construction cost was about $13 million for 3/4 of a mile.
So that was pulled from the application, and we really don't have any data. So that was something that we internally estimated, like staff estimated that based off of some historical data that we have from our other projects. But now that we have pulled out the sidewalk portion, that number will come down as part of construction. But we really don't know what that number is until we get into design and are able to get some survey data and get some
Yeah.
GIS data and kind of put some pen to
I
paper.
appreciate that. I'm thinking $13 million for 3/4 of a mile is an awful lot of money. And when you said it somewhere in here, you said that we have money available from another project that could be pulled over. I guess the bridge project, there's money left there. At our last meeting, I raised the issue of the underpass, an agreement with GDOT, which shows that GDOT was pulling out a turnaround lane, but putting in the 12-foot or the 10-foot trail underneath. Again, that is very important, and I'm not sure if the money that you are saying is available from the Chamblee Dunwoody Bridge is more relevant to doing that underpass. That underpass, to me, is the greatest need in that corridor. The sidewalks are already there. So we're going from a 5-foot sidewalk to a 10, 12-foot sidewalk on the west side with some lighting. The sidewalk's already there. That underpass and taking funds from other projects to do this 12-foot trail, I think is overkill.
So we did reach back out to GDOT and coordinated with them and get some clarification on the return access. So just looking at the documentation, from the 22 letter, it was stated that it was in the scope. For the return access was in the scope of the project, but sometime between 24 to 25, they actually then did put the pen to paper and they did the analysis, and it was not feasible due to the site distance. And it did not have to do with the shared use path. At that point, they had said they would commit to it, but they hadn't looked at it, putting the shared use path in either. So it was not contingent on either a shared use path or on the return access lane. They're saying that the return access lane is not feasible in any scenario because of site distance issues. And so then they were like, oh, we have this extra space, then we can put the shared use path in here.
Yeah, I'm not an engineer, but I don't understand the sight distance when you're basically doing a U-turn and we're putting in the U-turn. But again, highly disappointed if we don't get that return access road. Again, I think that is going to be a major impediment to our traffic woes in the future.
So as part of this, the developer is required to do additional like level of service and intersection operation analysis. And so then we would definitely be able to see what that effect would be. And then that would need to go to GDOT for approval before anything is implemented.
Thank you.
I think, go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Michelle. Yeah, personally, I think this is a very important project for the city. I know it was high on our priority list for a number of reasons. We have 2 schools, 3 churches, our featured park all along this route, as well as a connection to the to the pedestrian facilities in Cotillion and across 285 to a planned trail in Chamblee that's moving forward right now. I don't know when they're breaking ground, but I know that from talking to some of my counterparts over there, that's happening soon. So for all those reasons, I think this is a really important project. Two points I just want to bring up. And the first one is got a lot of questions around it, but I just want to put it out there. As we go through the design process, we all know DeKalb County School System is doing their school assessment right now, and one of the million things that is being discussed is the possibility of rebuilding Chestnut. And I just want to make sure that our designers, whatever we're planning along that portion, is adaptable to whatever future use, because I'd hate for us to go and invest a whole bunch of money into a design and a plan and possibly even construction just to have it torn up a year or two later if DeKalb County School System moves forward with that plan. I know there's a lot of questions about what DeKalb's doing, but I just want to make sure that that's on their radar, that if it could be designed in a way that's sensitive to that potential future redevelopment of that property, I think that would be beneficial to us. And then the second thing, I imagine a lot of the costs associated, as with is in a lot of these projects, is right-of-way acquisition. A significant portion of the land that we're going to be constructing this on is DeKalb County School System property. And I would love for us to reach out to the school system to see, rather than acquiring that property, if we can just get some sort of permanent easement, rather than having to purchase a property from the school system, because it is going to be for the very specific benefit of the students attending those schools. And that might be a way to save some significant money if that could be done through some sort of easement agreement rather than outright purchasing the right of way. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Okay. Well, so have been in contact with the principals at both schools. We got letters of support for them for when we did the grant application, so they do know it's coming, are aware of the project. And we would, have a public involvement session, and where we would reach out. They would be a stakeholder on the corridor for sure. So we would definitely have many touch points with them. For the right-of-way acquisition, we would just need to follow all the federal requirements as far as how we discuss right-of-way and acquisition. But it's not off the table. Yeah. So definitely we'll have discussions with them.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're talking with the schools. I know I've had a lot of conversations with parents of in particular Chestnut that would very much be in favor of this. So I'm looking forward to that.
Go ahead, Joe.
I got a couple quick questions, and I'm just going to have just a perspective. This is the chicken and the egg as far as local funds commitment. A swag for entire total local funds required for this whole project. I know right now we're looking at $640K commitment. If you can't get that number tonight, just I know we can't do it because we need everything, but still on the range of scope, if it's six, just an idea. Okay. And then obviously that's going to come primarily from probably our SPLOST, right?
I'm not sure where the money would come from for construction. Like, we've identified for the preliminary engineering and the right of way that we could use this, those funds. But we would need to look at the budget at that point when we know what the construction, estimate would be.
And is this next step getting us to a swag that after this next step would be complete, we get a little bit better number of the price?
Yeah, so this PFA gets signed, it goes to GDOT, it gets executed with them. We put out an advertisement for a consultant. I would come to recommend an award to a consultant design firm. And then they begin preliminary design. At that point, we would have a concept report, and that's when I would see the first cost estimate. And then I would come back after a public involvement meeting occurred and present you the concept along with the public feedback.
And at that stage, do we also decide, do we go it on our own, or would we go for federal for the construction? Because I really want to get an idea for the total local funding that's committed for this
When we get
project.
with this.
So the reason why it's just preliminary engineering and right of way right now, because that is what we asked for in the application, because we didn't know what the construction cost was going to be. And so until we have that dollar, then our plan is to request more federal funding for the construction
Right.
once I get the concept approved.
Okay, so with that said, I fully support this project, but I'm probably going to be a no because it's about the process. I voted no on the Brook Run Maintenance Facility because it was about the process. I have asked, we had a consolidated retreat this year, but I would prefer us having a holistic approach and talk about all of our CIP projects together, reprioritizing them and seeing where we should apply excess funding for that. If we were to put this into our CIP, where is it in the priorities of what the other projects are in our capital funding? In our 2024 council retreat, we said Mount Vernon was the #1 priority. And it's going to be probably 10 or 11 years before we get to the village with the side path at current. 10 to 11 years, 2037, we may have a path connection to jet ferry to the village at the current funding stream. So here I'm looking at 640K of lost opportunity costs that could go into other CIP projects. So for me, it's about the process. I do support the project, but it's the process, and I'd like to rather look at all of our CIP and prioritize those fundings as needed. Thank you.
So when this process comes to pick the builder, developer, whatever we call of this kind of thing, can you instruct them to present to us, I don't exactly know, Eric, but multiple cost options? So for example, we talked a little bit at our retreat, if an 8-foot trail is going to cost X, or an 8-foot sidewalk is going to cost X, and a 12-foot is going to cost Y, I think I personally, and maybe some other council people, would like to understand the nexus. Is it
So we could do a 10 and 12.
because of the federal stuff?
Mm.
Okay, that's fine. But just,
And you know, the 12-foot is the city's preference.
I understand, and
So
we talked about it
yeah.
at the retreat. We continue to talk about it, but we've always said we have to have flexibility.
Yes.
And, yeah. And we'll see, this is not an action item tonight. This is just a
This is
discussion.
discussion.
Okay,
So you will see it again.
okay. Anybody have anything else? Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right, next, Michael Starling.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'm here to discuss a memorandum of understanding between the Development Authority and the city for an economic development sign program. We've received requests in the past few years from economic development partners to install placemaking and branding signs. So these would be banners on light poles, so very similar to the 2x4 banners that we put up and some of our other partners put up for special events. And these requests have followed the same basic pattern, sort of think big picture, shop Dunwoody, live, play, work here, stay for the 9 to 5 kind of message. To be successful, these banners need to stay up for a long period of time, more than 4 weeks. It's 6 months to a year, because visitors, office workers, residents need to see these banners over and over and over again to get the message. It's also very costly to take down and put up these banners over time. Staff believes that the Development Authority would make a good partner and best position to determine which partners, which proposals, the best messages for these economic development sort of marketing signs. So we are requesting a 1-year pilot project. The Development Authority would manage the project for the city. We would operate it. We would come back in a year, tell you how we think it's done, look at the merits, and move forward. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about the program.
Anybody have questions? Oh, go ahead.
My understanding, kind of like with the Art Commission, we're basically just delegating review of something to another city. or
Perfect
municipal
analogy.
board.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I would say. It's another organization that specializes in this. You are giving up a bit of your power and decision making to them
Consent.
for a short period of time.
Sorry.
Either group can say, you know what, we're sort of over this at the end of the year. We don't think it's working. We don't need to do it. So it's perfect analogy.
I think a pilot project is reasonable.
Yeah, I think so. Consent.
I'd like to know the scope though. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand, I mean, there's signs everywhere, right? I mean, I'm just trying to figure, I mean, the signs on those poles,
Banners.
we got banners, we got stuff going on. What's gonna be the difference?
The difference, it would be very specific. I mean, we've written the MOU very broadly. We think that's
Right,
the best way to go. But the development authority would operate this really around our commercial areas and be very specific. We would not look to probably take this citywide. So imagine PCID or Discover Dunwoody wanting to do a program in the perimeter market, very specifically in the core about how great it is to live here or work here or stay here. So our thinking is we would get a proposal from one of them. The development authority would look at it, decide, okay, this is something we want to go with. We like the messaging. We would also be required to go through community development to get it permitted. So they would still look at the size of the banners, where they're located, are they high enough, all of those things. We would then also let you know that this program is happening.
So it's economic development, but it's not focused at one specific business?
No, we would definitely look for partners like Discover Dunwoody, Create Dunwoody, some of these groups. They're specifically looking to promote economic activity. One of the reasons the Development Authority works is that's the goal of them, you know, to create jobs, economic activity. It would not be company A or business A, come shop here. It would be shop either Dunwoody or the specific market.
Again, I'm just wrapping my head around it and I'm thinking the bus, advertised bus, you know, signs, advertising. I don't need any more signs. I mean, I just, to me, I think I'm just leery on allowing more signs. That's all.
We completely understand, and that is not what we would be looking to do.
And I know you said it was a pilot. Did you say this? I might have 1 year.
It's a 1 year, and the MOU is written is it's a 1 year, and it will automatically renew unless one of the partners
So I
opts
would
out.
say that let's take out the automatic renewal, at least for the first year. And so
Okay.
council will have to make a decision on how we feel about what we've seen and how comfortable we are. And then we can always amend it to be automatic in the future. But I think there's a sense of responsibility that it should be not automatic.
But when we see all the signs that come in front of us now, we get full packages, we get full vetting, we see everything. Now we see absolutely nothing and we're giving it away for a year. So I'm just trying to understand what we're getting and what we're giving away.
Well, to me, it's kind of like the art commission, but we don't do very many signs really. Because most of the only thing we do is when they're coming, I forget what it's called, and I don't think anybody's here from community development. I don't think anybody's left, but like when Kingswood got new
Right,
signs.
the Kingswood's a good example.
But that's not the kind of signs we're talking about,
No.
right? We're just talking about banners.
These would be
are not
banners,
permanent.
whole banners.
But so let's not put this on consent. Let's just make it a business item and
Okay.
make sure community development is here next week.
Yeah.
Is that okay, John?
Yeah.
Right.
And I will change the 1 year automatic renewal to just a 1 year pilot.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. All right. Public comments. I think I saw a card come up. We changed our system. Zach Humphreys, approach the microphone and you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Real quick, I just want to thank the Dunwoody Preservation Trust for wonderful lemonade days, and as well as Chief Carlson and the whole police crew. I don't think that there were any big incidences other than like some fights here and there. So we love to hear that.
Right.
But yeah, I love lemonade days and excited to keep that rolling in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. City manager comments.
No additional comments, Mayor. We do not need an executive session.
Council comments. Go ahead.
I just want to maybe jump on what Zach said and just thank, you know, we have a lot of nonprofits in this city that do a lot of nice events. Dunwoody Preservation Trust is a great example. Create Dunwoody also did an AAPI event Sunday afternoon. So there are a lot of community groups that do a lot of nice things year round. And so I appreciate you bringing up Dunwoody Preservation Trust because that's kind of become a landmark event in the city in the spring. And so I'm glad that they had mostly good weather and I think a pretty good event this year. So thanks.
Go ahead.
Speaking of nonprofit partners, just want to let you know this Saturday, I'm a member of the VFW and give them a little space and grace as far as their technical savvy goes because I'll just stereotype, but anyway, sorry about that. But this Saturday, they're doing a car show. It's at Dunwoody Village. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Silent auction, hot dogs, soft drinks. It's if you want to have your car in, it's $25. Otherwise, it's free entry and you can come in and see veterans, say hello to 115-pound Great Pyrenees, Josephine. The police department will be there, local firefighters. And that funds goes towards support the VFW. They support charities as well. So if you want to come out and join us, say hi. Thank you.
Okay. So Zach took what I was going to say. Thank you to the police department, and all the volunteers, including Zach. DPT does a really good job of recruiting volunteers. Tons of high school students are earning their service hours. It's a great opportunity for them. And everyone seemed to be so happy. Like you didn't even hear so many crying babies. And so it was just a great community event. Proud of everybody that was involved and grateful. And that is all I have. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Rob.
Second.
Second by Stacy. And no discussion, no comments. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none. That carries unanimously. We'll see you next time.